Notes on the Bhagavad Gita by William Quan Judge. This is chapter 13, and I've already previously done chapter 14 that's listed in the comments section description box, and I'll also have it pop up in the right hand corner right now. In the Path magazine of October 1890, Mr. Judge published this 13th chapter entire, prefacing the publication with these following words. There are nowadays many professors of occultism, just as years ago there was a numerous brood of those who pretended to know about the Philosopher's Stone. Both, however, were and are learned chiefly in repeating what they have heard of as occultism, with no substance nor reality underneath all of the profession. Now, just as then, the mere incidentals of the true occultist practice are thought of, spoken about, and pursued. Phenomena, or the power to produce them, constitute the end and the aim of these searchers' efforts. But seek as we may, we will not find among them real knowledge, real experience, true initiation. For being on the wrong path, deluded by false light, they can do aught but mystify, annoy, and deceive those who put their trust in them. During the days of Rosicrucian fame, there was some excuse for the mass of seekers, but since the old Hindu works have become gradually known to everyone, that exculpation is at an end. For on one hand, the note of warning is sounded, and everywhere are signs that show in what direction lies the true path. Particularly is this so in that wonderful book, the Bhagavad Gita. In it, however, void of phenomena, however unattractive in respect to bait for psychic emotion, it points out the way, it declares the mystic science, true devotion, and right action. It has been said of this chapter that it contains the whole of occultism, by which is meant that all-inclusive occultism which begins with the highest point of perception and realization, the self within, and which regards action and reaction on every plane of manifestation as the process by which individual and universal power and wisdom are attained. That which stands in the way of knowledge is ignorance, and from the point of view of true occultism, the root of all ignorance lies in misconceptions as to one's own essential nature. In this chapter, Krishna describes devotion by means of discrimination of the body from the soul, meaning thought and action based upon a knowledge of what is body and what is soul. He then speaks of this, quote, able body, end quote, as including not only the physical form, but such elements as the following: ahankara, egotism; buddhi, or intellect, or judgment; the unmanifest and invisible spirit; the 10 senses, or the 10 centers of action; and the mind with the 5 objects of sense, which are desire, aversion, pleasure and pain, persistency of life and firmness, and the power of cohesion. In this statement are included all that the ordinary mind conceives of as conscious existence, and purposely so. For if we are to arrive at an understanding of what is permanent, we must first see clearly what is impermanent and perishable. In the divisions given by Krishna, ahankara is placed first because in it is to be found the main cause of differences. Ahankara is the tendency to identify ourselves with forms and conditions. From that self-identifying attachment, all the variations proceed, intellect or judgment is based upon that self-identification, as are all likes and dislikes, modes, and channels of action. If we can grasp the idea of the perishable nature of ahankara egotism, the perishable nature of the other elements can be understood. It is a fact that we do identify ourselves with the ever-changing perishable body, and with its conditions and relations, which are also ever-changing. We will say, quote, I am happy, or I am sad, end quote. Quote, I am sick or I am well. I am contented or I am dissatisfied, end quote. All of these expressions being due to some form or condition which is changeable. We should observe that the self-identifying attachment is chiefly concerned with the present form and condition, although we are aware that other forms and conditions have existed in the past to which we were attached by like or dislike, and that still others will exist within the future. And through all the changes of the past we have gone, through all the changes of the future we must go. The past changes have perished, the present changes are perishing, and the future changes will also perish. But, quote, we, end quote, remain through them all, unchanged and unchanging. If we can grasp this idea and hold to it, we will have taken the first step towards right knowledge and freedom. For as an ancient sage has put it, quote, the soul is the perceiver, is assuredly vision itself pure and simple, unmodified, and looks directly upon ideas, end quote. And in this chapter are the following statements of a similar kind. Quote, I am the knower in ever mortal body. As a single sun illuminateth the whole world, even so doth the one Spirit illumine every body. He who seeth the Supreme Being, existing alike imperishable in all perishable things, he sees indeed, end quote. Perceiving the same Lord present in everything and everywhere, he does not by the lower self or the ahankara destroy his own soul, but goeth to the supreme end. It must be apparent to everyone who thinks that to be immortal necessitates being changeless, for that which changes has no stability. There could not be a continuity of consciousness even through one physical existence, unless there is permanence of identity. The same, quote, I, end quote, has noted the conditions, the ideas and feelings from childhood up to the present time, and will note them through all the years to come. This Western mind of ours finds a difficulty in reconciling, quote, changelessness with progression, end quote. This is because of ahankara, the tendency to identify ourselves with forms and conditions. Forms and conditions do change, but not of themselves. There is that which causes change to succeed change, and that is the indwelling spirit which continually impels the instruments it has evolved toward further perfection. So progress and evolution mean an unfolding from within outward, a constant impulsion towards a better and better instrument for the use of the spirit, or the self within. The spirit in the body is called Mahaswara, the great Lord, the spectator, the admonisher, the sustainer, the enjoyer, and also Paratma, the highest soul. This sentence really tells the whole story. The spirit sees, rectifies, sustains, and enjoys through its instrument or its vehicle. The ideal of progression is a perfected vehicle which tact and reflect in the, quote, highest sense, end quote, all worlds and all beings. The term body has been used throughout this chapter, But it must not be supposed that only the physical body is meant. The physical body is included in the term because itself is the product of involution and evolution from higher states of substance or matter. Krishna says, quote, "Know that Prakriti, or nature, substance, and Purusha, the spirit, are without beginning, and know that the passions of the three qualities are sprung from nature." Nature, or Prakriti, is said to be that which operates in producing cause and effect in actions. There can be no action unless there is something to be acted upon. That something is the highest substance. It is that which fills up all space, and from which all denser forms of substance or matter have been evolved, and within which they are contained. Thus, the body represents on this plane all the other states of substance from which it has been evolved. It is surrounded by and connected with them. A study of the 7 principles of man will give an understanding of the statement. If it's remembered that man, the thinker, or the manas, is not any of his higher principles, they are his vehicles and his instruments. Reader's note: for more information or a deeper dive into the 7 principles of man, see the linked video in the comments section below. 7 principles of man. The individual spirit, or Purusha, is said to be the cause of experiencing pain and pleasure through the connection with nature found in the instrument, or body, vessel. For spirit, when invested with matter, or Prakriti, experience the qualities that proceed from Prakriti. Its connection with these qualities and self-identification with them is the cause of its rebirth in good as well as in evil wombs. Krishna says that, quote, "The passions of the 3 qualities are sprung from nature, or Prakriti. The qualities represent attachment to bodily existence through love of which is good and pleasant, sattva, through a propensity for passion and desire, rajas, and through heedlessness which destroys the power of judgment. They are all due to self-identification with one form and other of bodily existence. That which informs and moves all manifestations is the one spirit. The spirit is the real and permanent in all forms and beings. And Krishna says, quote, "It is wisdom itself, the object of wisdom, and that which is to be gained by wisdom. It is the receptacle, and it is the seed. It is the power to perceive, the consciousness, the life in all things. It is the cause of all manifestation, as well as the holder of all knowledge gained thereby. Causing and perceiving change, it changes not. All power and all law proceed from it, and are inherent in it." This is the meaning of, quote, "spirit," end quote, where Krishna says in this conclusion, quote, "Those who with the eye of wisdom perceive what is the difference between the body and the spirit, and the destruction of the illusion of objects, and he will go on to the Supreme." By this, quote, "illusion of objects," end quote, it is meant the seeing of the objects as different than spirit. Each object may be called an expression of spirit through various evolved vehicles, whether these be called atoms, molecules, or forms composed of them. In the publication, quote, "The Voice of Silence," end quote, a statement of the same import may be remembered. Quote, "The eye of spirit, the eye which never closes, the eye for which there is no veil in all her nature's kingdoms." All creatures, being essentially spirit, strive, either consciously or unconsciously, to realize their spiritual being through contact, psychical and physical, with all manifested nature, some by meditation, some by services, and some mistakenly by selfishness through separateness. And while all paths lead to the Supreme, it is only when the permanent, as distinguished from the perishable, is realized that erroneous paths are forsaken, and then the true path then followed. End of chapter 13. Notes on the Bhagavad Gita by William Q. Judge. Until the next time, love yourselves and love each other unconditionally.